Hi everyone, this is going to be a 5-year update on one of my absolute favorite bags. I just recently did a paid Fendi bag repair slash bag spa service, so I'm going to show you the before and after, as well as give you the cost, the timeline, and my personal opinion on whether it was worth it. A quick side note to everyone who watched my previous video, because I recently had a pretty bad customer service experience with another Fendi item, but don't worry, we're all adults here, so I'm going to stay objective. But if you haven't seen that video, I do still recommend for you to watch it. Okay, so let's take a look at the bag before I took it in. I literally filmed this on the same day as I gave it away for repairs, and I have to say that overall it was in a great condition, considering that I've worn it maybe over 100 times, and it's a white lambskin leather bag. I think that it looked great. In fact, most of the signs of wear were visible around the corners. But first, let's take a look at the bottom seam of the flap. It had turned yellow, which is really quite interesting because it's a significant difference from the rest of the bag. And here we have some wear on the right corner of the bag. The right flap corner also had some wear. Then the wear on the left side, however, was more visible. So here you can see it on the left corner, and the left corner of the flap probably had the most noticeable mark. Then the left side of the flap next to the seam also had some visible wear. And I think it's more noticeable on the left side in general because I've mostly worn it as a crossbody bag in a way where it lands on the left side of my waist, and therefore my left hand kind of grazed it every now and then. The right side of the flap around the seam also had a bit of wear. There was nothing on the back of the bag, it was looking good, no color transfer, and the color of the bag itself had pretty much remained the same. I can't say that it had yellowed, unlike, for example, my white Chanel Classic flap, where the difference is much more noticeable. And finally, around the top seams on the sides of the bag, there was also some minor wear. Okay, now let's take a look at the bag after the repair, and it took them almost 7 weeks to repair it, and the cost was 290 euros. What's also worth mentioning is that it was within the timeline promised and the budget promised that was estimated by the SA that helped me. The price was exactly the same, and the timeline was supposed to be around 2 months. I have to say that overall the bag looks freshened up. They probably cleaned it and treated it with a leather conditioner. But now let's take a look at the work done. So first, the yellow bottom flap seam is no longer yellow and is now white. But in real life, you can still see that there are like these very small yellow-like texture bubbles. I'll try to zoom it in as much as possible. Maybe you'll be able to see them. Now let's take a look at the corners. On the right side, there is a minimal color difference. Mostly I can see that the texture is smoother than the rest of the bag, but it's only visible when you really look into it. The right corner of the flap has a very similar situation. I think that here you can see the texture difference much better, but you still have to really look into it. Now let's take a look at the left corner, and I think it's slightly more visible here. Once again, a slight color and texture difference. It looks smoother than the rest of the bag. The same situation is on the left flap corner, which had the biggest and darkest spot. So because of that, it looks like it has the thickest layer of paint. I think that the best work was really done on both sides of the top of the flap, just next to the seam. It's blended so seamlessly that I even forgot that there were any signs of wear, and it looks beautiful, so I really like that. And finally, the marks around the top seams on the sides are also gone. However, if you really look into it, you can see that there's still a light shadow on the areas where there was visible wear. Okay, and now let's talk about my overall thoughts and if I think it was worth it. Starting with the timeline. I don't think that 2 months is a long time, so I'm okay with that. As regards to the price, I am a little bit torn. It didn't really seem very expensive when they sent me the price estimation to my email, so I went through with it. But then I thought about how good is the overall condition of my bag and that it's really only the corners that had visible wear, which, let's be honest, if I passed by you, probably no one would even notice. So I do think that it's a little bit expensive. Unfortunately, I don't really have a lot of other similar experiences to compare it with, except for when 2 years ago I had messaged a number of independent companies to ask about the repair of my mini yellow Chanel flap bag, which had a decent sized stain in the middle of the front flap. And the cost, I just double checked my email, was around 200 euros. Since it was a stain, I'm pretty sure that they would have had to repaint the whole flap part of the bag, if not even the whole bag, and it would have cost me nearly 100 euros less for significantly more work. So looking back, I think I would have still done it, but probably I would have waited just a few more years. I just recently wore the bag and it really looks like it's brand new, but I don't think it was worth doing the repair just yet. As for the quality of the repair, maybe I'm just being too picky, but I don't think it looks as seamless as I thought it would. I know it's a white bag, maybe I expected too much. I don't know, guys. What do you think? Is the price on par with the work? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'm really curious about what you think. Also, if you've had any bag repair experiences, I would love to hear about them as well. So that's it from me today, guys. Stay safe, everyone, and I hope I'll see you again soon.